The day America changed the war forever. They did not just enter the war, they redefined it. When the United States stepped into World War II, the balance of power on Earth shifted. Not slowly, not cautiously, but with a force the world had never seen before. What had been a brutal, grinding conflict suddenly faced a nation with unmatched industrial strength, limitless resolve, and a people willing to give everything for victory. From that moment forward, the outcome of the war was no longer a question of if, only when. History would later look back and agree on one truth. Once America committed, the war was decided. Before that moment, the world was burning. Europe was collapsing under the weight of tyranny. Cities were bombed into silence. Entire nations lived in fear. Across the Atlantic, Americans watched, debated, and hoped the storm would not reach their shores. The United States did not rush into war. It understood the cost. It remembered the blood of the previous generation. But America also understood something deeper, that freedom cannot survive forever if it is never defended. Then came December 7th, 1941. In a single morning, the illusion of distance vanished. Pearl Harbor was not just an attack on ships and sailors. It was an attack on American sovereignty, American pride, and American resolve. Smoke filled the sky. Steel burned. Lives were lost without warning. And in that moment of shock and grief, something powerful awakened across the nation. There was no panic, no hesitation, only unity. The United States did not ask whether it should respond. It already knew. What followed was one of the greatest mobilizations in human history. Across the country, ordinary Americans stood up and volunteered to do extraordinary things. Young men left farms, factories, and classrooms and became soldiers almost overnight. They were not professional warriors. They were citizens. And they carried with them a belief that would define the war. Failure was not acceptable. Training camps filled at a pace never seen before. Boys became men under relentless discipline. They learned how to march, how to fight, how to survive, and how to depend on one another. They learned that they were no longer individuals, but part of something far greater than themselves. This was not about glory. It was about duty. And that sense of duty would carry them across oceans and into history. But America's power did not stop at the battlefield. While soldiers trained and deployed, the nation behind them transformed itself completely. Factories that once produced automobiles began rolling out tanks. Assembly lines that built household appliances now produced bombers. Shipyards launched vessels faster than enemies could sink them. The United States did not merely support the war effort. It became the war effort. Women stepped into roles that had never been offered to them before, not for recognition, but because the country needed them. They worked long hours, endured exhaustion, and kept production moving without pause. This was not just industry, it was national unity in motion. By the height of the war, American production dwarfed that of the Axis powers, supplying not only U.S. forces, but entire Allied armies across the globe. The message was unmistakable. America would not run out of strength. As American forces entered the fight, the momentum of the war began to change. In the skies, American pilots flew mission after mission, knowing that survival was never guaranteed. Over enemy territory, bombers pressed forward through flak and fire because turning back was not an option. On land and sea, American troops faced conditions few had ever imagined. Brutal terrain, relentless combat, and an enemy determined to hold ground at any cost. Victory was not easy. It was earned through sacrifice, through fear mastered and exhaustion endured, through brothers lost and missions completed anyway. But with every campaign, every landing, every advance, the reality became clearer to the world. The United States was not fighting to negotiate. It was fighting to win. What made America different was not just courage. Many nations fought bravely. It was scale, coordination, and commitment. The ability to fight across multiple continents at once. The ability to supply millions of troops without breaking. The ability to sustain pressure until the enemy had nothing left to give. When America entered the war, it brought not only soldiers, but certainty. The certainty that tyranny would not outlast resolve. When the war finally ended, the world stood changed forever. Entire regions lay in ruins. Tens of millions were gone. But the forces that threatened global freedom had been defeated. American soldiers returned home quieter than they had left, carrying memories they would never fully share. They did not ask for praise. They built families, communities, and a nation shaped by responsibility and strength. The legacy of that moment is not found only in victory parades or history books. It lives in the understanding that when the world stood on the edge, America stepped forward, not because it wanted to rule, but because it refused to allow freedom to fall. The day America entered World War II was not just a declaration of war. It was a declaration of purpose, and the world has never forgotten what happened next.